it's Mo. It is March 12th, and I've started a Cat Cozy Mystery. Back in the day, I used to do Cat Cozy Mystery vlogs. I love Cat Cozy Mysteries. My favorite genre of book is mysteries. I think cozy mysteries are probably my favorite. Like, I like thrillers, I like more contemporary mysteries, or like more realistic mysteries, but I love cozy mysteries. I think they're very fun and relaxing and comforting and cozy. So I have this series that I do on my channel where I read Cat Cozy Mysteries, and I started with some Cat Cozy Mysteries that I had read before. I read The Cat Who Could Walk Backwards, which is the first in the Cat Who series, and then I read a couple of more, and then I did another video, and then last year in 2024 I started another video, but it was like a doomed video. It may eventually come out at some point. I may talk about those books again at some point. One of them ended up being my worst book of the year for 2024, and the other one I DNF'd. It was really a tough go for that last video, but I decided to try again, and I'm starting with Lady Takes the Case by Eliza Casey. This is the first in the Manor Cat Mysteries. Now, this is a book that I wasn't sure if it was actually a cat cozy mystery, and I'm still not convinced that it's a cat cozy mystery. I'm about a quarter of the way in, maybe a third of the way in. I'm reading this book on audio, and there is a cat. The cat is important, but it's not like a talking cat, or it's not like a cat who has found a dead body yet, but that's not to say that it couldn't happen. What's interesting about this one, I think, is that it is a historical fiction. It's a little bit different than the other cat cozy mystery books that I've read in this series. Not this series of books, but this series of videos. So I was just reading the back of this, and it's really interesting because it's not the plot summary that I would give. We start this book in England in a manor house, and someone dies, and someone else in the manor house stands up and says that poison was meant for me. And then we go back in time and we meet a young woman who is American, and she is just coming over to England with a woman that she has become her like maid-in-waiting or lady maid recently. So we meet this American woman who's coming to England, we meet her lady maid who has the cat, and then we meet the family in this manor. The family in this manor is like a aristocratic family, but their finances have changed and they have been like selling off bits of the manor, and they are hoping that this American aristocrat is going to come over and she's going to, I think she's like an heiress, she's going to fall in love with their son and she's going to like save the family manor. So we have the parents of that English family, and then we have Celia, which is the daughter, and we have her brother, American heiress Annabelle Clark, and Annabelle's maid, who's not named on the back of this, but I think that she's like one of the main characters, which is really interesting. So far, that's all that's happened. She's come over from America with her maid. The maid has met Celia, the daughter of this British family. The cat is there. I'm just now getting to the murder. So in the very beginning, there's like a little pre-section where you see the murder, but now I'm getting to where that murder actually happens. Or, well, I don't know if we know it's murder yet, but like we're finding out. So far, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely different than what I'm used to. I don't usually like this kind of historic fiction. Like, I mean, it's very Downton Abbey, you know, it's just that British time period. I don't even know what time period that would be. 1912, so not Edwardian. Victorian. It's very Victorian. It's very kind of obvious that like our young woman Celia of the family, she like doesn't want to get married, she doesn't want to have to adhere to societal restraints, she wants to go read and go to the bookstore, walk around, she wants to be free, she doesn't want to have her coming out, she doesn't want to do any of those things. I guess she and the maid are going to solve this, and the cat are going to solve this mystery. That's what I guess. So far I'm liking it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's fun. There's quite a few characters and it's a little bit hard to distinguish, but I think so far the main characters are pretty distinct. Like at first we got introduced to like a lot of people and it was hard to tell who was who, but like now I definitely know who the American heiress is. I definitely know who the maid is. I definitely know Cecilia. So those I think are going to be like the important components of this book. So I'm looking forward to continuing it, and I will let you know how it goes. And then we should look at all the Cat Cozy Mysteries that I've read before, and we should probably look at all the Cat Cozy Mysteries that I've acquired over the years and pick our next Cat Cozy Mystery for this vlog once I'm finished with this one. So it is the next day and I've finished Lady Takes the Case by Eliza Casey. So I was very confused about this one for some reason in the beginning. And I think it's just because when we open the book, we're dealing with the two American characters, but when we actually get into the book, we're dealing with the other characters. So the lady in this case is Lady Cecilia, who is the daughter of this manor house and the person who ends up taking on the crime and like wanting to become an amateur sleuth by the end of the book, and who, along with the American maid and the cat, form kind of a team. Is this a cat cozy mystery? No, not really. The cat, Jack, is in this and he does, find some clues. He does help the investigation and help inspire things for the investigation. So it is possible that Cecilia, Jane, and Jack will go on to solve more crimes in the next book. This is a duology, at least for now. I saw that there was another one. This book was written, I want to say in like 2019 or something. Yeah, this book was written in 2019. I don't know when that was written. I don't know if there's going to be more in the series, but I enjoyed it enough that I would definitely read the next book in the series. And it is on Hoopla, so I could theoretically read it in a video that I'm continuing series, which definitely will come about eventually, or if I just want to continue it on my own for my own enjoyment. I am trying to read my physical TBR this year as much as possible while still gaining a lot of books, so it is possible that I will find this one, and I am trying to read series off of my own TBR. Unfortunately, the next book is not on my own TBR, so I won't be getting to it anytime soon, but I did enjoy it. I don't know if this is an American author or a British author, but I liked that our American maid, Jane, was from New Jersey. I love the New Jersey representation. It was very sweet. And I also like that this didn't feel like an American doing Britain as much as some cozy mysteries that I've read. There are definitely some cozy mysteries that I think just like go over the top and are like ridiculous, whereas this one, maybe because we have American characters and British characters, didn't seem as like ridiculously Anglophile, British-phile, but not really knowing what England is like or how British people speak, etc., etc. So I liked that about it, and I liked the setting. I liked how descriptive it was. It definitely like set the mood for the environment and the place. It seems like to me there's a lot of jumping off point here that you could go on and have more to do in more books. So I'm glad that I finished this one. And now let's talk about the other Cat Cozies mysteries that I have read for this series. I read The Cat Who Could Read Backwards. This is not that book, but I don't have a physical copy of it. This is one that's later in the series. That was the first one that I read, and that was a reread for me. I read Catnap by Carol Nelson Douglas, and this is a Midnight Louis mystery series. In the Cat Who mysteries, our main character Quillian and his cat solve the mysteries together because his cat is like an all-knowing cat. He does certain things that lead Quillian to solve the case, but he's like a regular cat. In the Midnight Louis series, we get perspective from Midnight Louis, and Midnight Louis is specifically and strategically helping his owner, and we hear his thoughts as a cat. He doesn't talk to his owner, but we hear his thoughts and his thought process as he helps his owner to solve crimes. I would definitely read more in this series. I will be reading more in this series. Cat About Town by Kate Conti was about a young woman who moves back to a shore town, or lived in a shore town. In the beginning of this book, she finds a stray cat, and similar to the Cat Who books, this cat helps her solve crimes, but it's more that the cat stumbles upon things or causes our main character to stumble upon things. We don't get perspective from the cat. The cat is not a talking cat. It goes on to be that she's going to open a cat cafe at some point. I really did not like this book at all, and so I will not be continuing on the series. Then I did read Curiosity Thrilled the Cat by Sophie Kelly. Sophie Kelly has 2 cat cozy mystery series. This is part of the A Magical Cats mystery, and this is about a woman who has 2 cats who lives in a small town, who's a librarian, and her cats help her solve crimes similar to the Cat Who books. They are like magical cats, and they are actually magical cats in that they can like walk through walls and stuff. They don't speak in human speech. We don't get any perspective from the cat. I did really like this series, and I would certainly continue on with this or her other Cat Cozy Mystery series. We'll start with books that I finished. Next we have Mimi Lee Gets a Clue by Jennifer J. Chow. This was in that Cat Cozy vlog that you haven't seen yet, and this was my worst book of 2024. I really didn't like this one. This one follows Mimi, who opens a pet salon and it's not doing well, and her sister, as like an opening day present, gets her a big white fluffy cat named Marshmallow, and Marshmallow can talk. So Marshmallow is a magical cat, and Marshmallow helps her solve crimes by like speaking to Mimi, and in this universe all cats can talk, they only choose to talk to certain people. And so our cat Marshmallow can also like talk to other animals. I just thought this was really poorly written. I don't love the talking cat part of Cat Cozy Mysteries, but like also it just wasn't that good of a book. It just wasn't well written. So, but aside from those two things, like I would have continued on with this series. I think this is a trilogy. It's interesting because Mimi is, I believe, Filipino? Might be Filipino. She definitely has a culture that I haven't read from a lot, and so I would really like to read from that culture, and I think that would be interesting. So unfortunately, I will not be continuing on with this series because I really didn't like this one. But like, again, I'm not really into the talking cat. Okay, and then we have a DNF from that same video that you haven't seen yet, which is The Cosmic Clues by Manjari Prabhu. Now this is maybe not a DNF forever, but it's definitely a DNF for now. I got pretty far into this one, just over the halfway point, and this is not really a Cat Cozy Mystery, which is part of the reason that I DNF'd this one. There is a cat, and the cat does help with certain crimes and does help like clear the mind of our main detective, but it's even less helpful than in Lady Takes the Case. Like, this cat isn't finding anything. This cat isn't like actually helping. It's just one of the very first cases the cat did help. So our main detective thinks that the cat might help. And could the cat help again later? Maybe, but like it just wasn't very Cat Cozy Mystery-esque. And then another DNF that I've had with Cat Cozy Mysteries is the #2 Feline Detective Agency. I don't think this was in any vlogs. I only got a few pages into this, like 30 pages. And the reason that I DNF'd this one was because it's like a cat world. So our cat is the detective, speaks human speech, I guess, or we're understanding cat speech in this, but like cats have their own world. So this is a cat detective in a cat world who is solving a crime, and it really just wasn't for me. So I don't know if this one will ever come up in any vlogs, but I'm sure I've mentioned it. I haven't gotten rid of this one. There's always a chance that I could read it again, but in case it doesn't come up in any other vlogs, you'll probably just see it in these kind of wrap-ups. So those are all the Cat Cozy Mystery books that I have read. Now let's talk about the Cat Cozy Mystery books that I have. First off, I have a couple more books by Lillian Jackson Braun, who does the Cat Who series. I have this Short and Tall Tales, which is a short story collection. And then I have The Cat Who Ate Danish Modern, which I actually bought because this is the second in the series. So I did get this from a used bookseller, and I got this one so that I could continue on. Some of this series is on audio. I did reread The Cat Who Came for Breakfast on audio, but this one is not, so I'm happy to read this one. I also remember this being my favorite from when I first read it when I was younger, so I was happy to have a copy. And then I also do have The Cat Who Talked to Ghosts, which I think is not too far along in the series. I've been trying not to pick these up too much because you see them a lot and there's a lot of opportunity to get them, but I've been trying to get them only close to like where I'm actually going to read them to in case I decide to stop reading this series. But these few I have picked up. Then I do have another Sophie Kelly book in a Magical Cats series. This is The Cats Came Back. I don't know how far along in the series this one is. It could be like really, really far. It could be slightly far. Like, I have no idea. It looks like it's pretty far along in the series, but I'm definitely willing to read some of these series out of order because if not, how will I ever get to them? Then I do have 3 books by Miranda James. Miranda James has at least 2 Cat Cozy Mystery series, A Cat in the Stacks Mystery, of which the first one is Murder Past Due. And this one is also in that series, which is No Cats Allowed. Those I just picked up randomly. Obviously, I haven't read them yet. So this is definitely a contender because it's the first in the series and because I haven't read it yet for us to read in this vlog. Not this one because it's further on in the series. And then she also has a Witch's Cat mystery series. And I don't know if this is the first in the series or not. I have a feeling that it's not, so we won't be reading that one. Next, we have 2 in this series, which is an Alice Nestleton mystery by Lydia Adamson. And these all have cat names and I think are true cat cozy mysteries. A beautiful sleuth finds that cat sitting can be murder. So we have a cat in the manger and a cat in a glass house. An inscrutable Chinese restaurant cat puts murder on the menu for a beautiful sleuth. So I don't know if this is she always runs into cats or there's just one cat. I think that this is the first in the series, so let's put that in our maybe pile. I have 2 copies of Catwalk by Karen Kajewski. I don't know if this is a cat cozy mystery at all, but I do believe it's either a standalone or the first in a series, so I will put this in the maybe pile. I recently got Madeline Alt, The Trouble with Magic, and this is a bewitching mystery series. This, I'm not sure if it's a cat cozy mystery, but it does have a cat like on the spine and in the logo, so this is one that we might have to look into. Another one that we might have to look into is Kiki Friedman, When the Cat's Away. This is part of a mystery series, which the titular character is the author, but the author is like a pseudonym, and it's the author is the character, and the character is the author. And this does have a cat in it, but I don't know if this is a cat cozy mystery. We have The Chocolate Cat Caper by Joanna Carl. This is called the Chocoholic Mystery, so I don't know if this always has cats or it just has a cat in this particular one. We have The Cat, the Quilt, and the Corpse by Leanne Sweeney. This is a Cats in Trouble mystery, so this one is a cat's cozy mystery. We have Cat on the Edge by Shirley Russo Murphy, and this is another start of a series. This is like a really long-running series, and I know it is a cat. This might be a talking cat. And then we have Rest in Pieces, which is the start of the Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Brown Pie series, co-written by the author and her cat. And I think that this one is maybe a talking cat as well. And then we have How to Wash a Cat by Rebecca M. Hall. This is part of it's first in a new series, but it doesn't say what the series name is. So it might be How to Wash a Cat series. I believe this is an actual cat cozy mystery series. And finally, we have Susan Whiting Albert's The Tale at Hilltop Farm. This is a Beatrix Potter mystery that has a cat main character, but this is another one where all the animals talk. So I definitely don't want to read this one right away or right now. This might be one that I just never read, but I'm gonna keep on my cat cozy mystery shelf for a while. All right, so I think we should look at How to Wash a Cat. I've looked at this one and this one before, and I remember not being super excited about it, so I think we can skip those. Let's do The Cat, the Quilt, and the Corpse. Let's do Cat in the Manger. And let's do Murder Past Due. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read like the first chapter or the first few pages of these, and then I will decide which one I want to read, and I will get back to you. Okay, so I have started my next cat cozy mystery. This is The Cat, the Quilt, and the Corpse by Leanne Sweeney. This is a Cats in Trouble mystery. Cute cover, very cute, I like it. I can't remember exactly why I picked this one now. I think I read the first sentence and this was the sentence that was like the most intriguing. That being said, it's not super intriguing, but it was the one that I wanted to read. I know I have a couple that were on audio, but I didn't really love the audio for any of them. But the problem is that I was in a little bit of a reading slump, so it took me a really long time to get into this. I was only reading like 10 pages at a time, and now I've gotten into it, and now I'm like almost done. So I think I only have like 100 pages left. This follows Jillian, who is recently widowed. She moved from Texas to Georgia with her husband, and sadly about 10 months ago, less than a year, her husband passed away from an unexpected heart attack. So that's sad. She's trying to live her life. She's trying to go on. She's trying to continue her quilt business and take care of her 3 cats. So she does get out to different quilt shows and stuff, but she lives a little bit of a reclusive life in this Georgia town. She hasn't really made friends or anything. But all that changes when someone breaks into her house and one of her 3 cats goes missing. So Jillian goes on a mission to find this cat, to figure out what happened and who broke in. And especially in such a small Georgian town, she feels like this is a possibility because gossip rules. And even as the cops are coming to investigate the break-in, she makes a friend with one of the young cops, Candace. So this follows Jillian and Candace as they look for Jillian's missing cat and everything that entails and everything that ensues afterwards. Right off the bat, I would say that this is a little bit of a weird cat cozy mystery because the cat is like in danger. Like the cat might be dead. Like you don't know as the reader. So it was a little bit stressful to read. Definitely my worst nightmare would be leaving a door open and the cat's getting out, or a fire or a break-in or anything like that, and not being able to find my cats, not knowing where my cats are. So I assume that most people who read cat cozy mysteries are cat lovers. That's why they're reading them. And I would assume that cat lovers would find this stressful as I did. So I think it's a little bit of an odd choice to have your cats kind of in peril in the beginning of this book. And then there's more cats in danger. And I guess that goes along with the name Cats in Trouble mystery series. But Jillian is helping out other cats in trouble as well, along a little bit with her 3 cats. The cats do play a part in this mystery for sure, but not like directly all the time. So for instance, in the very beginning, the first line of this is that one of her cats is allergic to human dander, and she comes home and the cat's sneezing, and that's how she realizes that someone broke in, because she takes precautions not to have dandruff or anything like that, which is a little bit bizarre because, you know, dander is like your flesh, not, you know, it doesn't actually have to do with like dandruff in your hair. Like everybody is sloughing dander all the time. Cats, dogs, people, everything. But anyway, the cat lets her know by catly means that something is wrong. And so other things like that happen with her cats. But there's no like talking cats. The cats aren't knowingly helping her with the investigations. They are just being cats, and that helps her with the investigations. And the whole thing revolves around cats. I like that part of it. I like that Jillian is 41. Her husband was 54, which is an interesting age gap, I think. Or maybe he was 55. I like that she's a little bit of an older protagonist. I like that she like has her own life and she does her own thing. I like how she's making friends and that she's open to making friends in this town, especially now that a lot of people she's bonded with over this cat drama that's happening. There's a lot of weird diet stuff. I mean, this book was written not that long ago. Well, okay, 2009, but still, like the topic of like women's bodies has come up. The topic of food and eating and dieting has come up. People trying to pick Jillian up or trying to make advances on her. Some weird marital dynamics have come up, like just as asides, just like not necessarily as part of the story. It seems odd to still be writing about women's diets and about that kind of thing at this time. Some of it is like a little uncomfortable. But overall, I'm enjoying it now. It took me a really long time to get into in the beginning, and the first big crime besides the break-in doesn't happen until like almost a quarter of the way through the book. And then now we're just investigating that. So I don't think there's going to be any other crimes or murders or anything like that in this book. I think what's going to happen from here on out is that Jillian and Candace are going to continue to investigate. Jillian's going to be in some kind of peril from someone who she seemingly trusted, and then Candace is going to help save her, or vice versa. I guess it could be that Candace gets in trouble and Jillian goes in to save her, but I think it'll be Jillian because she's the novice, and then the whole thing will wrap up and it'll be fine. I'm interested to see the rest of the series and to see more books in the series and see what ends up happening with Jillian and how she goes on to be part of this community, but also how she goes on to find more cats in trouble and then help them. She and her husband were known known for, and her cats were from volunteering for pets who were affected by Katrina. So she does have a history of helping cats, which is pretty cute. So I'm excited to finish this. I feel like I can finish it in like 2 more sessions, maybe 1 more session if like the action picks up. It's definitely not action packed, but we are meeting a lot of the characters who I'm sure will come back in other books, and I am enjoying those relationships and learning about all the people in town. It is a lot of like white men with names like Tom or Ed, so it's hard to kind of keep track of them all, but I think once you start reading more of the series and they become more prevalent in their character development, like within the story, then you'll get to know them better. So I will be finishing this one at some point soon, I hope, and when I do, I will let you know. As you can probably tell from the way this vlog is going, it has been months since I finished The Cat, the Quilt, and the Corpse. And I really enjoyed this one. I definitely will be continuing on with the series. I looked the other day to see if they were on Hoopla or Libby, and I don't think they are, which is sad because I think these would be a fun one to read on audio. So I will keep my eye out for more of these books. I liked our main character. I liked that she was older. I liked that she was grieving, but she was also opening herself up to finding friends, and it talks about making friends and meeting new people and meeting new loved ones at an older age and at a time when you thought you had the person who was going to be your best friend, who was going to be your companion, who was going to help you make friends. Now you don't have that person, so you have to do that on your own. I like that. I like the relationship between Candace and our main character, Jillian, and I don't remember the ending of this book at all. Not even a little bit. The parts that I remember are like the interaction between Jillian, Candace, and the cats, and I remember a little bit of like the resolve, kind of, sort of, because I do remember that a big part of this book is about animal rescue and about cat rescue and that whole idea. So there is an interesting aspect of that too. And I think what I like from cozy mysteries in general and cat cozy mysteries in general is that there are other themes than just like, I like cats, somebody died, I have to solve a mystery. All the cat cozy mysteries that I've read in this vlog and most of the cat cozy mysteries that I've read in general have like other aspects of the personality of the main characters that encapsulate bigger themes. So a lot of them are like isolation themes and the idea of people who are isolated from other people in their lives or other parts of society, but they have their animal companions, you know? It's a very, okay, so that's a very like tenuous one because it is a bigger theme, but it's not necessarily like a socially relevant theme. I mean, it is. It's not exploring it in the grander social context of the world, right? But I think those are interesting characters to follow, and I think that Jillian's isolation and her willingness now to explore avenues out of that isolation is interesting. I like that she's a widower, and I like that she's an older protagonist. I think that is something that some of these cat cozy mysteries have had, and something that is like a wider theme than just like we solve mysteries, right? A couple of the cozy mysteries that I've read more recently are definitely like, I have to help my community, so I have to solve this murder, which is fun. And that is what Jillian is doing, and I think there is commentary about community revolving around rescuing cats, and there is the idea of rescuing cats and rescuing animals and why it's important to do that, the community that can form, but done in a slightly more cat-centric way in this, which I like. You know, she's helping her community by making quilts for cats, but she's also helping her community by solving murders for cats. And I definitely think this was a higher stake, like I mentioned before, cat cozy mystery, because the cats are in peril and there is cat death in this, and that we very rarely see. Sometimes cats are in trouble and the main character or some of the people working on that case have to help them. I'm thinking specifically of the Midnight Louie book that I read. Like, cats were in danger and Midnight Louie, along with his human companion, were trying to help them. But this, it's real serious danger and cats are dying, and her cat, like I mentioned in the beginning, is lost, and there is a real potential that one of her cats could pass away in this. So you are worried and you definitely have a higher stakes, especially for a cat lover, especially for a cat cozy mystery, a higher stakes mystery with cat peril. That took me by surprise. That took me aback, but I think I liked it. It'll be interesting to see in future books if that remains true. Another thing that I really liked about this book was that there was quite a bit of talk of her quilting in it. So she has like a whole quilting room, and it talks about the cats getting into her quilting stuff, getting fur on her fabric, and it talks about her working on new quilts. So she has like a board where she uses all the fabric that she's cut out to piece together quilts. So very close to home. I'm a quilter. I have been quilting for the last like 20 years or more. I've recently gotten out of it, and then I think this book and also just life in general have helped me get back into it. So I think like reading more of these books where she's quilting, I have a feeling that she's going to quilt a little bit in every book, but there was definitely some actual quilt talk in here. There was some actual quilting talk in here, which I enjoyed. So yeah, I'm interested to see where this series goes and what happens to Jillian and her potential love interests and Candace and her cats. So I'm happy to have read this one. Now, technically, I have read 2 other cat cozy mysteries in the course of this vlog, and then I read the final book for this vlog as well to like wrap it up. So you'll see that final book, but the other 2 I'm going to keep under wraps until my next installment of a cat cozy mystery vlog. I'm back. It's very much later. I've totally lost track of this vlog. I don't know where we are. I don't know what's happening. I have to go through all the footage that I have because I've been compiling it, but I haven't been editing it, and I need to get this vlog out. Like, it needs to happen. I need to get back on track making cat cozy mystery vlogs because I have a huge stack of cat cozy mysteries and I'm always finding more. Case in hand, I started reading 6 Feet Deep Dish by Mindy Quigley, which is the first in the Deep Dish mystery series, and this takes place off of an island outside of Chicago, Geneva Bay, Wisconsin. Our main character is Delilah O'Leary, and she is a Chicagoan who, with her very rich and very zen, very yoga, very new age fiance, are opening a deep dish pizza restaurant and just a restaurant in general. She comes from a foodie background, she comes from a service industry background, she comes from a chef background, and she and her fiance are opening this restaurant in like her favorite place where her grandmother lives and where she's wanted to live her whole life. It's a vacation island, it's where the rich and famous go, it's got restaurants, but because she has this chef background and she's enticed these people who she's worked with, a bartender that she met in Puerto Rico and her best friend who was working for like a very fancy Michelin star, I don't know if it was really a Michelin star, but Michelin star restaurant in Chicago. She's enticed these people over to join her restaurant staff and to open this new restaurant. On the night of the opening, she has a huge fight with her fiance and he breaks up with her. So their soft opening is like imminent, it's going going on, and they have a fight because he's very flighty, she's very type A, he's very go with the flow, she's very structured and organized. The people around her know that, but he really struggles with it. We find out that over the course of the last few months of their relationship, they've been fighting more and more. So he breaks up with her, he leaves, the soft opening continues, and then her grandmother's caretaker is murdered. So she goes out to the docks to check on her grandmother, and she hears a shot, and her grandmother's caretaker has been shot, and her grandmother is holding the gun. So her grandmother is confined to a wheelchair, she's getting older. Of course, Delilah's first thought is that, you know, her grandmother didn't do it. When the police come, she's surprised that this very handsome police detective doesn't call them in. But her grandmother has a lot of pull on this island because she's lived there so long, because she's taught so many of the people who were kids who's now grown up to hold place of power. They don't get arrested. And of course, Delilah decides that she needs to help the police solve this mystery in order to open her restaurant. She cannot afford, both mentally and monetarily, to not open this restaurant now that she is unsure of its future in general, because the money that her fiance was putting up is now in limbo because they've broken up. And when we meet Delilah and when we discover that she's going to take on this mystery, we also meet Butterball, which is her overweight tabby cat. And Butterball's future is up in the air too, because Delilah's fiance originally brought the cat into the relationship, but Delilah has become so attached to Butterball that she doesn't want to lose him. I'm about halfway through 6 Feet Deep Dish. So far, there's not a lot of cat action. It's one of those cat cozy mysteries, similar to many of the ones that I've read, that the cat does cause catalyst for some of the discoveries that happen, but not like knowingly. So think Lady Takes the Case and Jack, think some of those other things. It's not like Quillerin in the Cat Who series and his cat. It's not like even the cats in the Cat, the Quilt, and the Corpse, where the cats are like actively trying to help, whether they're like personified or whether they're just doing cat things to cat help. So it seems like the cat is going to help solve some of these mysteries, but not like actively, just from cat behavior and cat-like reflexes, cat-like reactions to things. They're going to help solve the mystery. Butterball's going to help solve the mystery. Delilah and her found family are getting closer, and she's finding new found family within this group, within her restaurant. There is quite a bit of talk of the restaurant and of pizza making. Having worked at a pizza restaurant, having worked at many restaurants, I do feel like this is probably someone who has dabbled in the industry but not fully been in the industry. I feel like Mindy probably has worked in some restaurants and is a foodie and likes to follow the food scene, but isn't a chef necessarily and doesn't necessarily understand like everything that goes into pizza making particularly. Yeah, this was written in 2022, so a lot of the like trends and flavor profiles that she's talking about are pretty established and well known and are passé. So I don't know if she's really in the industry. I think she just likes the industry and maybe has a little bit of knowledge about it, but isn't like a true service worker. It doesn't say anything in her bio about working for the service industry. It does say that she's lived in the US and the UK, where she worked as a personal assistant to the scientist who cloned Dolly the sheep. It says she now lives in Virginia. It doesn't say where she was originally from. I really like when Goodreads has where they're from on there, where they grew up or where they were born, because I think the Chicago setting and specifically the Geneva Bay setting is very strong in this. Now, I don't know that area very well. I've only been to Chicago once, Lake Michigan a couple of times. So I don't even know where Geneva Bay is. The main character is Chicagoan. Geneva Bay is close to Chicago. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Wisconsin. I think the island is probably between like Illinois and then is it this way? Illinois, no, it's this way. Illinois and then Wisconsin, because they both border Lake Michigan. So I'm not super familiar with the accent and the tone and the experience of Chicago or of Geneva Bay. I think that Mindy plays it up a lot in this book, and I'm reading it on audio. Holly Adams, the narrator that I'm listening to, is definitely doing like a heavy Chicago accent, but because there's some mob connections and some old kind of gangster vibes to this book, like it really works, and I think it's really cute, and I think she's doing a good job. And I don't think it's so much that it's like distracting. I do think that the voice that she uses for the Puerto Rican gentleman is a little bit much, borderline ridiculous, but it's still fun to listen to. I'm reading this one on audio because it came up as a free borrow or a bonus borrow on my Hoopla. I can never use those because usually they're books that I'm not interested in, but this one I was interested in. So I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to try and edit some of this vlog and try to figure out where I am with it and what other footage I need to finish, because I know I didn't finish talking about all the books. It's gotten a little out of hand, and when I read some more, I'll let you know. So I finished 6 Feet Deep Dish a little while ago now, maybe a week ago. I did end up having to go back and film a little outro for one of the books that I read in this very messy Cat Cozy Mystery vlog. I really liked 6 Feet Deep Dish. It was a very modern cozy mystery in general and a very modern cat cozy mystery in that it hit all the tropes that now cozy mysteries seem to have, or seem to have, which is like, there's a queer character, there's people of color, there's like a specific family dynamic that has to be in there. There's an older woman who is underestimated and then surprises everybody. There is a potential love interest for our main character who, like, definitely at this time in the first book is not actually a love interest yet. The potential is there. It wasn't doing anything like revolutionary, but I did really enjoy that it was about the service industry, because I love books about the service industry. And even though I don't think the author is a professional cook, pulled from her knowledge of that, but she's not knowledgeable enough to speak about it exactly as it is. There were recipes in the back, so she is obviously like a cook of some variety, a home cook, a person who likes food. That was clear. It was super fun to read. It was not heavy on the cat. Like, again, the cat was incidental in helping solve the mystery. I've definitely discovered doing this Cat Cozy Mystery series, there are many different levels of where the cat is in the mystery, and I think I'm going to talk about that more in my next video. So maybe next episode, we'll talk about what the different levels of cat involvement are and some of the different ways that cats can be involved in Cat Cozy Mysteries. Overall, I'm glad to have finally finished this vlog. I read quite a few books for this vlog. You will have seen them more recently than I did. I ended up liking all of them, which is good, because I realized going through editing this that 2024 vlog may never see the light of day, because I didn't love all the books and I ended up DNFing some of them. It feels like now I'm back on track. It feels like I have a little store of Cat Cozy Mystery books and some good ideas to keep reading Cat Cozy Mysteries, and I'm definitely in the mood for mystery. It's February 4th of 2026 when you're seeing this, so almost a full year since this vlog started, and I'm definitely in the mood to read more cozy mystery, and I'm always in the mood to read more about cats. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned here, and let me know especially if you have a Cat Cozy Mystery that you think I should read. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!